So welcome, everybody, to the second hour of MindShifters Radio. And today is Tuesday, June the 21st, 2022. Our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And press 1, and that puts you in the queue to talk to us. We'd love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. And I'll just share, Michael's going to be a little bit before he gets on. First of all, we had a glitch. Usually I have issues with Apple getting the app approved, and this time it's been Google, and I just found out that they didn't like it, that we had things on our website that we had for sale, and I don't know if they want part of it or what, but anyway, I had to make a few changes on the website, and we're going to resubmit the app again and see if we can get it approved. So the previous version is working, so it'll just take a couple more days probably to get that past their Google eyes and get it approved. So we're working on that. I'm working on getting the shopping cart in a nicer format, so hopefully that'll take effect soon. And several things. A session with a young lady about an half hour ago. And so I'll just fill up a little bit of time by sharing, she had a goal. She was overwhelmed with school and this particular class. And when we narrowed it down, it was like a panic and stress. And when it was like, okay, dig a little deeper, what's under that? And she found, I might not do well. And she lacked self-confidence. And I said, dig a little deeper beyond that. And she says, I'm not going to be able to do the work. And I was like, dig a little deeper. And we just kept going, kept drilling down. And what we finally got to was that she was concerned about what others, her friends, her parents, whoever, was going to think about her. And so, a lot of times when we're working on something that seems surface, if you just keep asking yourself, okay, what's under that? Well, what's under that? And I really like the abbreviated form because of when you get to the goal, what she said her goal was for the class to be easy. But when we, dug on down past some of the other things that she had gotten to, it was because she wanted her friends to judge her that she didn't do good in that class. So it really wasn't the class. It was what others were going to think about her. And that goes all the way back to, when we're a child and usually around the age of 3 or 4, and we give, just being who we are because we think that we need to perform to be approved of by someone else. And it was identical to what she was describing now that she's in college. But if you really dug down and looked at it, it went all the way back to her original giving up of herself. And so, it's the worksheet's really powerful, and if we put it to work in our life and, just don't do surface, though. A lot of people just want to flip through it and not really dig down and see what's really going on underneath. And until we get that handled, it's going to just keep showing up. Like I told her, I said, we usually say, well, I didn't feel this until you were around or till you came around or whatever. And I'll just get rid of you and then put this right back down where I don't have to look at it again. And that doesn't work because life is going to continue to give us whatever it is that we need to heal whatever's going on. And somebody keeps texting me here. My apologies. Got sidetracked there. We think we can multitask, but we don't really do it too good. So anyway, putting the tools to work and really digging down and looking at what's going on. And, one of the other things that we talked about was what do we use to cover it up? And she found, that she just really had so many goals that one goal right under the other, like dominoes, and she would get into overwhelm and then panic and then procrastinate because by the time she finally started to get a hang of it, they were piled on top of her and she just couldn't get on top of it. And so it's just being able to look at, take a step apart and look at one piece of it at a time instead of looking at the whole big picture of overwhelm. Well, that can be a lot of things. And then break it down into little bitty pieces, and you get it down to caring about what another person thinks of you and how that can just balloon. So if there's something in your life that we can help you with, press 1. Ask your question. And, that's what this show is here for, to answer your questions or for you to ask us the right question. You may have come up with something that we haven't even thought of yet. And the question is what's important to get us in that direction. So the phone number is 563-999-3581, and press 1, and that puts you into queue. And I'm not good at monologues, so it would definitely help me out if you press 1 until Michael gets on the show. I just heard him breathe. He must be on the show. Yep, doing your Darth Vader again.
Darth is here.
All right.
I wish this microphone were not so sensitive to breath. Well, just bouncing off of what you were saying about working with someone in that, ultimately the power person dynamic, we just look at the goings on in the society and the back and forth in the financial realm, the whole blame game about gas prices. We got a war going on in the world with one of the largest gas producing countries in the world being shut down, and the blame game, how everybody's, there's a quote, I'm not sure I can get it exactly, but this is pretty close, from Carl Jung, and he says that everybody has to have a myth to live by, and that the religions gave us the myth that kept us in a common bond so that we could coexist together. And one of the things that we're seeing in the last few decades here in America is the breaking down of religion to a great degree. So many people are turning their religions into fear and hate and anger, and so many people have left religions. And according to Carl Jung, you can't live without a myth. There has to be an underlying dynamic that your mind sees in the world and in your life. And it really ties back to what we were talking about last week with the word Tuvehun from the Beatitudes, that there's this underlying neural structure that the Creator put inside of us, and it would tie into this idea of a myth by which we run our lives. And now that there's so much breakdown in so many arenas where we had something that tied us together, in whether it's a nation or a group of people of any kind, that with the breakdown, people are making up their own myth. And the easiest myth to make up is, you're wrong, I'm right, it's settled, why argue? It's all your fault. And that's a myth that, literally millions of people are living by. And it doesn't matter what happens, whether it's gas prices or what. That's one of the very common ones today. It's really traceable that, what's going on with gas prices and why, and yet millions of people are blaming an individual without getting into the political ramifications of it. But it's just that myth that people are bought into and are living under. It's somebody else's fault. And of course, whose fault is it? It's the other guy. And when we live in that other guy myth, the mind has to fulfill its prophecy. The mind has to fulfill the blame game, and people never arrive at the place that Jeanie was talking about, where they're willing to look inside and deal with the underlying dynamic that's driving their own minds. They never reach, unless they've got forgiveness. And forgiveness was disappeared as far as I can tell. You go back as far as Paul, and forgiveness was gone. Paul didn't have a clue how forgiveness worked. He says, why is it the things I would do, I cannot do, and the things I hate are what I do? He didn't have a clue what drove his own mind. He didn't have a clue what underpinned his perception. And so he had no control over what he did with his behavior. And here we are, living in this game with so many people, living in this somebody else is to blame for what's going on in my life. And it's time to wake up from the power person dynamic that underlies the myth that most people live by, that somebody else is the problem in my life, and move to the point where that output from the mind can be collapsed and give us access to the ability to heal what underlies, what keeps people in such rage and hatred and vengeance and, the violence that's going on. And, how many people think it's their right to run somebody else's life, to go into somebody else's bedroom or somebody else's, feeding trough or whatever it is, and it's their job to run somebody else's lives. And the strain and stress of that is just outrageous. And yet, you look at what's happening even in state legislatures where they're legislating behavior of other people other than themselves while they ignore their own rage and pain and hatred. It's all just such a profound and powerful wake-up call. And so, of course, the worksheet we're working with is called the wake-up sheet. And there's a reason for that, because we can wake up from unconscious dynamics if we engage in the process of forgiveness. And that's what we're here to offer. That's what we're here to teach. That's what we're here to learn. And so we'll keep passing that along and offering support. And Nene had contacted me this morning and said that she had a profound breakthrough on a worksheet that she'd like to share, and she doesn't have a phone service that allows her to call in. So, Jeanie, if you could take over for a second, I'm going to dial her and bring her in on the call, and we'll see what she's got to share.
All right. So, while we're waiting on Nene, she's in the chat room, so hopefully he can reach her. And tell her that Michael's calling her.
Sure.
And
hey there, young lady.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome. How are things in Florida?
Well, very wet. A lot of rain.
Oh, are you getting lots of rain there?
Yes.
We could use some here. Send some up here to Virginia. Our garden could use a good soaking.
Yes. Last night, all of a sudden, the thunders, and the lightning, it was like a concert. It's amazing how nature, how can that happen? How can that be? And then the rain, very, very, very heavy, for maybe 30 minutes, and then that was it. But enough for a couple of months.
Well, we could use that about every other day or every 3 days here to keep the garden watered, and that would be nice. So what's happening in your world? You wanted to share something about a worksheet that you did?
Yes, definitely, yes. Last night, I had the Shabbat meditation, very powerful. 5 ladies were in the group, and the theme was like opening your heart, opening your being to receive and create a joyful life and prosperity and purpose and enjoy life more.
Perhaps you could share with everyone what, for those who don't have the brain cells, for what Shabbat meditation is, what you're doing with that?
Yes. The Shabbat meditation is a meditation that includes the Shabbat, the Aramaic forgiveness process of identifying the goal, canceling the goal, asking Ruach HaDakusha, your internal feminine power, to undo the errors, to heal, using the breath, as you do all that, and then creating a new goal. So besides the meditation, the benefits of calming your mind and having that awareness of being present, there's also an experiential process, as you connect to love, identify your goal, cancel it, and then you ask for that power to assist you. So very nice. Some of the ladies, 4 of the ladies have been doing Shabbat meditation, and we've done the Shabbat workout, the wake-up sheet.
Right.
So
let's just share with everybody that word Shabbat means to cancel. In Aramaic, it's the word that's been translated as forgiveness. So basically you're talking about a forgiveness meditation that you've been doing with a group of women.
Exactly. So
men not allowed?
Oh, no. Well, just most women come. Of course, men are allowed. But everybody likes a title. Everybody likes a title. A tribe.
Perfect.
So for marketing purposes, to attract people. So these ladies have, we've done worksheets together, and they come to different meditations. I've been doing the Shabbat meditations over a year now.
Right.
So what I'm meaning to say is that people have some experience. The people who came into the meditation yesterday, except for one, they've done some work before.
Right.
Okay, so beautiful, and everybody was very aware of their process. People were almost fainted. They felt this dizziness. Others said, oh, my legs were shaking. Others were really sleepy. And everybody had a very good dose of their own work. Because we all work together, but you do it's your own work.
Perfect.
Your own. Okay, beautiful. Woke up this morning. I also, this morning, I'm very, is that in English, sensitive or sensible?
You're in a sensitive place? Tender?
Yeah, tender. Yeah, tender.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to cry.
Delicate. Yeah,
delicate.
I hear you.
I said, okay, but really tired, very thirsty. Very thirsty. Well, I wake up and also I drink water, but today was more. So water and lime. Okay, I said, no, it's time for me to do my worksheet. And so I'm doing my worksheet about, we've been away, not only physically, quote unquote, from Venezuela. I'm here, Lucia is there, and my brother is there. I have a home there, but also doing a worksheet about, in truth, my talents, the things I want to do, and all that. So I'm doing my worksheet, and I cancel my goal to live, enjoy, and close to the people I love. That's my family. That's my goal. I'm canceling, and I'm starting to feeling all this warmth at the inside of me, and my mouth, my right shoulder, going numb, and all of a sudden, but immediately, boom, my thought was, of course, I learned from my mother's special that life, in order for you to be accepted by God or being spiritual being, you have to suffer. Your life has to be
that's a big
tears. One. Wow, tears and tongues. Like the roses have tongues. Like the cross, it had to be painful, and bloody, and all that. And I remember it came to my like that, and I said, of course. And then immediately I said to myself, well, I canceled my goal to create another story with the same brain cells to prove that I'm right.
Yay.
Michael, I was immediate. As I was saying those words, I felt a relief. My body went like that. I started breathing more normal. This is an internal joy. I really said, well, I can create something different. But you know how many times I've done this thing? I don't know how many worksheets. I've done it and for the first time in hundreds of worksheets, I've had a How do I feel? 6.8, no, in the worksheet. Relief, clear mind. It was an instant shift.
Michael, you're talking through the wall, but not in the phone.
Excuse me, I had hit my mute button, but it sounds like you hit a new level of vitality with this worksheet around this issue. And the need for fluid, having such a thirst, your body's opening up and it's clearing out. You'll probably see some enhanced elimination, maybe some phlegm release, because oftentimes, phlegm is when it becomes dehydrated in the body, that's where energy is held to keep it out of the cell. And when it's ready to rehydrate, it expands, and you're going to be probably letting some of that go. But that's awesome.
Really, a moment of awareness, of clarity, and I still have this breath of fresh air, joy, a little distracted, but I said I'm going to write about the symptoms of healing, and I went into the website, and it's beautiful done, as usual. Jeanie is very artistic with everything she publishes and writes. So, but I wanted to share that, and of course, part of it is the group. Being in a group, how we support each other's energy to process.
That's awesome. Now, I don't know, is this an open group that you're doing at a regular time each week that you've been doing?
Well, I'm doing it now on Mondays because it was Thursdays and a lot of people were very, very busy. Yes, I want to do Mondays at 9 p.m. Miami time, Easter daytime, standard Easter daytime.
I don't think we've got that on our website for people who are doing support groups, but it sounds like it's something we should put on the website so that anybody who might want to join you for that's a different take, doing a meditation like that on the forgiveness process. I think that'd be awesome to have that available to folks who want a resource. And so if you want to send us the information on the
yes,
link, is it a Zoom thing you're doing? Or?
Exactly, yes. I was going to say it's Zoom, so I will forward that for Zoom.
Yeah, email all that to Jeanie and we'll put it on the website. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
And also, so I'm going to translate the symptoms of healing crisis.
Right.
I'm going to translate it, and when I have it ready, I'm going to also send it to Jeanie so you can have that in Spanish as well.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to put it on the Spanish page and let people know that are speaking Spanish. I've actually been looking at language learning programs with Are Your Brain Growing. She's showing interest. Her mother is part Filipino, so her parents speak Tagalog, and they're teaching Ari that. And yesterday she was doing some Spanish stuff, so we've been looking at programs, and I'd like to learn more Spanish. So that's awesome. That's fabulous. Nice piece of work.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. And also, last Sunday I listened to your on YouTube to the worksheet that you have there, the group. Very interesting. And
the new Why workshop.
The new Why, the new Why workshop
from last Saturday. That was awesome.
Yes. Awesome. So I get in my mind, the thoughts, the molecule, why you have to do a worksheet for each emotion, for each feeling.
Right.
That I knew, but then listening in again, and I said, oh, yes, of course.
Got done new level. That's awesome. Cool.
It's fantastic, yes. You'll see me in one of those again. You will see me soon. I want to be part of that.
Sweet.
Of the next one you do, I will coordinate so I can put it in priorities.
Fabulous. And when you watch something like that, if any questions come up for refinements anywhere throughout the whole workshop or anything that you watch, keep a notebook and then, call in and ask it on the show or put it in the app, and we'll make it part of the conversation. The amount of work that you've done and the fact that you also are capable of thinking forgiveness in the Spanish language rather than English would empower you to ask questions that might take things in a different direction than we might normally go, and therefore open up a whole new aspect of the process. So please, any questions that develop, we would love to hear them.
Very good. So, and I thought it was interesting as well that this worksheet is the 4,801.
All right.
I said, well, and one. So it's like a new level, because the joy that I feel, the joy that it's, you know how it is. It is, you don't have words to express the contentment.
I hear you.
The love, serenity, truly.
For so many years, I taught this process and had no understanding, because coming out of the Aramaic, there was no explanation. There was no, it's about canceling a goal, but there was no background, no explanation as to what was going on, what was happening. And now that I understand that each time you cancel a goal, that perceptual construct, which is made of such a tiny, tip of the iceberg type piece of information, the iceberg that when you cancel a goal and that perception collapses in on itself, and what it gives you access to underneath in the hidden part of the mind. It's just so monumental to be able to explain that to people now. And for, 30 plus years, 35 years, I taught the canceling of goals without being able to explain that piece of it. And now that I understand that, and when I watch people, oftentimes they'll drop into something very specific, as you were talking about, or it'll just be an energetic dynamic that happens, that when they drop into that unconscious part of their minds and love is active and present in them, it's like going in with a superpower vacuum cleaner and just cleaning stuff out of the unconscious, and the shifts and the changes. It's always just, to me, it creates such gratitude in me to understand that, and to be able to support people in that, and to be able to explain people, to inspire and get folks to move into deeper and deeper spaces. So that's awesome that you're doing that. Nice piece of work.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. 11 years, and yes, it's expansive. The more I do, the more I learn, the more I listen, and it's greater and greater. And I'm happy that more people are a little more consistent. It took me a year and a half, but I see people that did it and then are back. You know who it is.
Hanging with it.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm happy that I have this commitment.
I hear you. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It's just someone was acknowledging me yesterday on Facebook for the wisdom I bring to the posts that I do, and it was like my response was so instantaneous and so clear of, I wish this were my wisdom. I just happen to be blessed to luck into this Aramaic understanding, and to be blessed to build the brain cells to be able to gather some of the wisdom that Yeshua brought 2,000 years ago and pass it on. And I'm really clear that it's his wisdom, not mine, but I sure do feel blessed at the opportunity to extend it and share it and make it available to people.
Exactly. Oh, thank you so much.
Sweet. Thank you for sharing it. Any other thoughts for you?
No, right now, I was also to think of my mom in a with more joyful energy. As telling her, I understand you, but Mom, there's another way, and to embrace her in that new, way of loving and new thoughts, like a new generational thought.
Is this something that's, just come to you since this particular worksheet, or something that's been developing in general?
No, this one, as I said, it was all of a sudden everything connected, everything was understood, and I understood my mom. And then my thoughts for her were, okay, Mom, you know what? It could be different. I embrace this new knowledge and this life that it is possible to live. And I thought of my daughter also. You can create different. Yes, it's as if I opened a new door.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like what you dropped into with this particular worksheet then, whether it's conscious or unconscious, and that's the beauty of it. You don't have to believe it or think it works or imagine it works or anything else. If you just do the process, the bringing forward of the presence of love and then collapsing the construct of the mind that's based in the pain or the trauma, whatever the worksheet is about, and going in and mopping up. It sounds like your mop-up program with this particular worksheet related to some perhaps inhibiting energies around Mom, and it's just loosened that up. So that's awesome. What a nice gift to give her and to give yourself and your daughter as well, because it'll open a new space with her, I suspect.
Okay, yes.
Sweet. Well, I've got a big smile on my face for it all. Thanks for sharing it. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah. So I'm so blessed that today I was off and I said, it's like everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. Cool. So I went outside and I said, well, I'll go to the beach and I'll walk and this, that. I crossed the bridge and started raining all of a sudden.
Now, are you trying to get it set up so that we have to do worksheets on jealousy because you get to just walk over to the beach? Well, here we are landlocked in the middle of the country.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do a worksheet on envy.
Okay.
Beach envy.
Okay, lots of love. Thank you so much.
Okay, sweet.
My big
nice
gratitude.
Work. All right, thanks for sharing. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Well, I think when Michael hung up from talking to Nene, he also hung up from the radio show, so he'll have to dial back in. So great conversation. Thank you, Nene. We appreciate you. And Susan, 610, you are on the air. How are you doing?
I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Michael's back on now, so tell us what we can do.
Well, I just had
Hey there, young lady. What's happening?
Question. Hi, Michael. Well, Jacob is texting me. I'm sorry. Just a practical suggestion. I feel as if Tim and I kind of caved yesterday by sending him money when he was treating us so poorly. You saw the language he uses.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy-duty language.
So, and my daughter's upset with us because she has told him that while he is being disrespectful, she is not going to cover any costs for food or drugs or anything for him. And so he has blocked her. And it's okay. He can block her because he has us. And now we're the only thing left. And I am afraid to do what she wants us to do, which is to say no to everything too and let him do what he's going to do. And you said, can you be at peace with if he dies? Well, I guess I'm not, because I feel as if I'm buying time, believing that perhaps he'll get his head on straight. But the more I read about this and the more I think about the fact that he's turning out to be just like his father, who is still just as belligerent as ever, I think that he's probably not going to, he just didn't want to touch the worksheets. He did download the app. I said, it's kind of fun to use the app. But I don't think he's going to use it. He just said they're stupid and they're this and that, and that's not the issue and it won't help and all this business. And so I backed off from that. But I guess.
Well,
I
remember
just
that
need,
with the app. The thought I want to offer is with the app, he's dealing with a much more complex process than that single, that first worksheet that Julie created. And
I agree.
in order to,
I agree.
I mean, it gives him a lot of points for argumentation, which it sounds like he likes to do, and places to unleash his hostility, where my thought would be, starting with the simpler worksheet, there aren't so many places for him to argue and fight and struggle. It's just kind of straightforward. There are a few minor steps here, but the process still works, even with that simplest worksheet.
Yeah. Well, we're just awfully far away from being able to approach that. I agree with you. Yeah. In fact, I looked at because I use the online app once in a while myself, and I know carbon-based memory and I know all those other things, but that was one thought is, what if you had a third, this is poor Jeanie, this is more work for her, a third option of the very simplified worksheet. I know you have the Dragon Klingon, and that might be what you're doing. That might be the place to go. But for adults or even somebody like Jacob who could do a very simple one online with the same PDF and questions offered, it's so great. It's really... tap this and you get a definition, tap this and you can ask a question. It's amazing. And that I'm going off on a tangent, but I just wanted to say, Jeanie, your website's amazing too, just endless resources, and shows a lot of incredible understanding and tech brain power there. So, yeah, but I've been very depressed. I've been on edge and restless and not concentrating very well. So what you said is nothing outside of me can cause my upset. Well, it's there, and I'm letting it cause my upset. But
well, my offering would be, no, you can't let it cause your upset. It's going to show you if there's upset in there, somebody's going to show up.
Yeah.
And quite often that somebody's going to be somebody who's genetically linked, because they're the only one who can dig into the next depth of what needs to be healed. And so I'd suggest this might be the time to renew your 40-day commitment for another 5 a day and work on this level that he's bringing up for you.
Well,
kind of being a snotty brat, and the snotty brat issue is perhaps your next level of work to do. We can't. One of the things I've recognized for years is the next piece of work I need to do. There's always somebody in my audience that's going to bring that issue forward for me.
Yeah.
And so here's a snotty brat that is showing Orb what she needs to deal with next. And how about a mind shifter?
Okay. I'm
pacing,
so I will stop pacing and write.
Okay.
Okay, as I,
with care and concern, reach out to Jacob. I realize that I deserve to be treated lovingly, gently, and with respect.
And that's
the truth is,
shifter, Michael, because I agree with it.
Well, no, you don't. No, I don't. I think you're kidding yourself. I don't think you're telling yourself the truth. You're allowing and rewarding a young man for telling you to F you. That doesn't reflect to me someone who believes that they deserve to be treated lovingly, gently, and with respect.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, and there may be stuff to that, because I have found myself going back to, feeling as if I'm getting hit when he's talking to me that way.
You did get kicked. That's being kicked. And you don't deserve that.
Yeah. So, but on the practical level, are you saying that no more money, I could say no, just a clean, clear no to him about giving him any more money at all, and brace myself for a tirade or 20 and let it just bounce off, because it's not about me and it's not really, it's just him doing his thing, which I do understand. I'm just afraid he's going to go off and jump off a bridge.
I hear you. That's definitely one of the concerns. And that kind of behavior is exactly his power person behavior, which he's now reflecting to you, and you're approving of it. You're accepting it. And I hear your concern for it. That was part of our discussion yesterday. I've watched that. I remember, one couple that I worked with, and they had a son that was, kind of in the same boat, and there was a particular behavior he was doing that they just, were just crazy over. And I said, well, you can hold them accountable for that, and be aware of what it might lead to. And unfortunately, in that case, over a period of time, it did lead to that result. And they had done some work around that eventuality and that possibility of suicide, which is what he did. And that's a tough place to be. And, you've done some anonymous work, so you're familiar with the whole idea of enabling. But when you carry on the conversation like nothing's been said, after he uses that kind of language with his grandmother and his supporter, that is enabling behavior.
Yeah. Tim is not on the same page as I am.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks we should just keep sending him money and pay no attention to the rudeness because he's just upset. That's what kids do when they're upset. So even Tim and I are not in agreement. In fact, I sent him money because Tim approved.
I'm not thinking in terms of sending money or not sending money, but holding him accountable for that kind of language towards you, I think, is a reasonable thing to do.
Oh, I agree with that. But the bottom line is he doesn't get nice until he gets his money.
Yeah. So you have to buy it.
I have to buy it. And I bought a little time, but it doesn't stop. Like today, I've gotten 2 texts already, and one of them asked for us to cover a doctor's appointment, $30. I sent it right away. Prescribed Xanax for him, which is an old-fashioned, we're all familiar with that.
Yeah.
I feel as if I have no more fight in me. I'm
tough.
Just flat.
It's a tough place to be. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And that's why I'm suggesting you do the next level of your work around this as well. And, and follow your highest guidance, and I certainly hear your concern for him and his life. He's threatened his mother that he'll commit suicide, and, that'd be one hellish load to have on your mind if you somehow believed that it was because of you, which my offering would be it could not possibly be. But I hear you loud and clear. It's a tough place to be. It's a place no grandmother should ever have to be in. But that's the family dynamic right now. So next level, how can I stand as a space of active, present love and communicate in a way that opens a space for healing?
Yep.
So how about another mind shifter?
Okay. Let me go back to my pencil. All right, ready?
It's safe and healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I joyfully hold Luke accountable.
Jacob.
for the language he uses with me.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what
It's
accountability
Jacob,
might
but
look
on the
like.
other
It
hand,
might
what
just,
he does
or
it
pardon me,
too.
with Jacob, right? No, I don't know what
Yeah, I got
accountability
it.
might look like. It might just be a conversation. It might just be, what's going on that you would even think about using that kind of language with me.
Oh, I've had that with him, but Michael, I've been good. You would be proud. I am calm, and I say, Jacob, I will not accept that kind of talking to me. You don't speak to people like that, and it hurts you first. I told him the carbon copy thing. He just says, oh, that's
right.
bullshit.
Yeah.
He's not, I'm not getting through, at least superficially. Maybe it's getting
Well, he's
through.
unconscious. I mean,
yeah.
The amount of pain, the more he is abusive with you or anybody else, the more pain he experiences. And he's exhibiting that pain. That's why he wants more meds. That's why he uses drugs. That's why he uses alcohol. But he has no awareness of the unconscious impact of the abuse that he does and its impact on his own psyche and his own physiology. He just has no. There's a great passage and line in the Course in Miracles that says, one of the problems is you're not afraid of your own fear. You think it's normal.
Wow.
And you have no idea what you're doing
That's
to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't believe he's doing it to himself any more than his father believed. His father believed that it was your daughter's problem, and his father believed that it was his problem, and his father believed that it was the other child's problem. And that's the game that people in denial play, that dissociation game. And it's a tough place to be. Definitely to break through that one is major. And we're certainly here to be the sounding board and the support for it and holding the space for it. I have great empathy for you and every other parent, sibling, spouse, child of someone who's stuck in alcohol and drugs, because it's a tough place.
Yeah, that leads me to another question. Catherine wants me to go to Al-Anon, and I have found a group that actually meets online. It's a California group, but it's 3 o'clock our time, so this afternoon after the show, I'm going to go on there. But
Great.
Tim is not on board because he said Jacob isn't like a regular alcoholic. He is mentally ill. He is not well. You said yesterday he was well enough. He was well enough, but I'm not sure that he is to endure the tough love thing without offing himself. But maybe
I'm not suggesting any kind of tough love. I don't believe in the tough love game either. Love is active, present love, period. It's not tough. It doesn't abuse. It doesn't do any of that stuff. That's not what I'm suggesting. I am suggesting some level of accountability.
The word. Yeah,
okay.
Well, that's what I meant by tough. I certainly don't mean nasty or anything, and Tim doesn't mean it either. But he thinks we have to do what Jacob wants because he is so frightened. We have to just cave. That's what Tim thinks.
That's the game. That's the game of every alcoholic, and every alcoholic is mentally ill. I'm not suggesting that he's not. Every alcoholic is mentally ill and has a game that they play, and Al-Anon can help to enlighten you to that game. And, it has strategies for working through that game, which also sometimes include closing the door. And, it's, again, from every perspective, it's tough. But, there's mental illness involved in every alcoholic and every drug addict. And if someone has enough intelligence, like, for instance, just to look at the conversation that you texted me, that you had with him, he's fully capable of engaging in responsibility and forgiveness. And I'm not saying he's not mentally ill. He's definitely got that going on. Yeah. And he's cognitively aware enough to be able to step in and begin to do his work. Like, he's not stupid.
So no.
He's bright
But,
and he's capable.
so you're saying it's a matter of will, and he hasn't got a clue about that. He does.
Well, there's so many aspects.
Developing
Will, it would be interesting to see what a personal code evaluation would look like for him and what area. I suspect that if he did a personal code evaluation, he would have at least 4 areas in crisis out of the 10. The 4 areas I would suspect he would have in crisis would be nutrition, digestion, toxicity, honoring truth,
right.
honoring self, honoring others, and probably a 5th one would be stress management.
Oh boy.
Using the language that he uses with you, hostility would probably also fit there. So there are probably at least 5 or 6 areas out of 10 that I suspect on a personal code evaluation would show up in crisis. And he's bright enough and capable to start doing his work. The goal is, the key is, how do you inspire him? How do you communicate with him? How do you open that door? And again, I think that the app is too complicated, would give him too many places to hang his resistance hat, where the simple first of the 7 worksheets that Julie developed, literally for a kindergartner, he's fully capable of doing that and stepping into it.
Well, I'll go get that, and I'll send it to him. I'll just send it to him, and he can look at it, and he may rail at me, but, so anyway, that's good to be reminded. Because
maybe it looks like a conversation like, it's time to stop railing, and it's time, you want me, let's do a little tit for tat here. You want me to step into cooperation with you. You want me to support what you want. How about, kid, we start to make this a 2-way street? Because right now, you function like a selfish little brat. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And maybe even a stronger word than brat.
You are true.
Yeah. Well, I think you have been monumentally gigantic about holding a space of love and support and communication with him. So I would simply call him bullshit on that one if he started to play that game. It's like, let's stop it now. Let's stop it now. I'm here talking to you lovingly, gently, and respectfully and working to support you, and you're playing the abuse game. Now, cut the bullshit, kid. There's no abuse coming from me. It's time to stop. It's time to grow up. You are not a baby anymore. So maybe sometimes love, it is able to step into some difficult conversations. And some accountability here isn't going to be an easy conversation the way he so easily falls into abuse. But the truth is, he's smart enough to know how to manipulate around you totally. He's done it with his mother, and his mother's given up. She's gotten to the point, from what I hear, it sounds like, where she's just given up and willing for him to go his own way and do whatever he does. Fortunately, he's got Orb, who's there holding a space for him. But I'd start putting my foot down in terms of accepting any form of abuse from him if I were you.
Well, I'll keep doing it.
And we'll keep holding the space with you.
Thanks. I've been just saying, Jacob, you're speaking to me disrespectfully. I'm going to get off the phone now. And I'll hang up. Yeah. That's been the best I can do. And
perhaps with that hang up comes the message that, and until I get a sincere apology and you make a commitment as to what you're going to do in the future in terms of how you're going to treat me, I'm not responding. I'm just not going to. Maybe just briefly explain to him the apology tool. Gee, I apologize for what I did here, and in the future, here's what I'm going to do. That's what apology looks like, and make the demand for an apology from him. It's like, you are a big boy, and it's time for you to start to grow up and be responsible for your actions. So, the next time you F you to me, that's going to be our last communication until I hear a sincere apology. And then you live by that apology. Because I'm not here to be whipped and beaten. It's not my job. And it's not your job.
Yeah.
And I fully understand the challenge and the difficulty of being in the middle of his mom and his dad and the whole family scene. That's a tough, tough place. Breathing with you.
Thanks. So, thank you, Michael.
Jeanie, do you have any thoughts to share?
No, you pretty much covered it, and I totally agree. Just giving in to him and just letting him have his way is basically telling him, yeah, that's okay. Talk to me like that. And you deserve that.
And you might go back and review. You did some work with a particular therapist when Luke was going through some of this. You might go back and review some of your notes from that and the kind of input and advice that they gave you.
Mhm. That's a good idea. I've even thought of calling her, but I do have all the notes, and it's pretty much. I don't even want to go to this Al-Anon because I'm sure I'll hear stuff I know. But on the other hand, I guess I have to hear it again. Yeah.
Well, and you never know. The right Al-Anon group, there might be the parent or the grandparent who's broken through that and shares a pathway that makes sense and helps you to open the space. I got that you're working to open the space for him and for yourself and for your daughter as well, because she's very involved in this, even though she's put her hand up and said, I'm out of here. She's very involved, and, I acknowledge you for hanging in there, and I'd insist on being treated with respect.
Yeah.
You deserve that. You really, truly deserve that.
I agree.
And what we're talking about is all playing out power person dynamics. Another thought that comes perhaps is you might want to dig out the power person worksheet from the Codependence Intensive. And opposed to sending it to him, because he can play his little, this is bullshit game, you might just tell him you've got a worksheet here. It's a different kind of worksheet. And you're going to ask him some questions. You're going to fill it out for him. Yeah. And really have a conversation that goes through each of those steps. And when it's complete, maybe then send it to him so he can, remember the power we talked about in that Codependence Intensive, being able to step back and become the thinker apart from the thought, the feeler apart from the feelings, the actor apart from the actions. And if you can get him to spill the answers through that whole extended power person worksheet, and then send him a copy, it might be something that helps him to start to step back a little bit from his own mind and see what it is he's doing. Right now it's so in his face that he can play being totally and completely unconscious. That's
a great idea. I like that idea a lot.
So maybe you do the writing, you fill it out, and who knows, you may be doing a codependence worksheet for yourself as well.
Yeah. Right.
Walk them through the 3 early memories exercise. Walk them through the power person worksheet. Walk them through the codependence worksheet. And maybe you become the secretary and write it down. But I'd definitely be inviting him to use the apology tool to begin the process.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Breathing with you, dear heart.
I know you've got to
holding
go.
a space of compassion and understanding.
Thanks.
Yeah, the show's going to cut us off in a moment or so.
What we do. Okay. Yeah.
All right, we're here.
Thanks.
Blessings, lots of love. Alrighty, bye-bye.